So I do a practice at sunset and at sunrise as often as I can to bring in more light. And this process of breathing in the light while looking into the setting or rising sun, um, this practice can be expanded to drawing the high noon, the sun at high noon down through the crown while looking up and breathing it into the body. This essentially fills one's own Merkaba or starlight. I'm looking over there because I'm actually looking into the sun right now while I'm talking. And so the palms of the hands are essential part of this. As we face the palms of the hands to the sun, we also illuminate the sensory perception with light in the palms of our hands. This happens to increase inner sight so that when later you're in meditation with eyes closed, you can actually focus on palms of hands if you seek to know something or want to ask the Creator for an answer to a prayer. Then you might ask the prayer that you might know something or have insight be given, and then focus on the palms of the hands that have been illuminated by daily practice or a common practice of facing the setting or rising sun, or even opening them to the bright sun that you cannot look at with your own eyes. This practice helps increase the ability to see, which is I don't want to call it psychic, although psychic is a function of seeing. Psychic can be misleading because the word or the term psychic, as far as I understand it, is there to look at something remotely. So we look at the topic or question someone might have is my boyfriend cheating on me, or is this happening? And the problem and the obstacle with those kind of questions with a psychic mind or psychic insightful being that has some gift to see is that psychic realm tunes to the astral plane. It tunes to the tuning, meaning like a radio dial. You can tune into what you're looking at with eyes closed, behind closed eyes, and start to get perception on that topic. But if human beings are thinking about that topic, arranging with emotional response to a topic, then their frequency of emotion around that topic is emitted and creates forms or constructs or stories. So you end up bumping into false information. And that's because the psychic's seeing it, but what they're seeing is a human mind thought pattern around that information, which may or may not have, it's human, it doesn't have necessarily the whole truth. So what I'm here to talk about is to tuning into what is true. And how we do that is by first practicing illuminating consciousness, becoming silent in the mind, so the mind isn't always going. We have to go so we can say, oh, I have to work, I have to prepare the money, I need to go to the bank or the store, all these cares, pay the bills. So the mind will have triggers to protect you. But there's a time in each day, an initiate into spiritual consciousness brightening and usury of these more metaphysical skills or mystical skills, which are simply just practices of your own focus. So as you focus your consciousness on a concept in stillness, or the concept here, is stillness, then when those thoughts start to arise, you grab them and quiet them and don't allow them to run. And this will create space inside of you to leave room to actually hear answers to your prayers, which is very important. You have to have space. When I first started doing a certain practice of seeing, I was guided by my spirit guides how to do this and instructed. They would sit me down and say, nope, sit here, sit here. So I'd sit at the end of day on my bed, foot of my bed, cross-legged, and close eyes. And this happened several times and not too much happened. And eventually, after about 30 minutes, one day, something broke through. And on my screen, which is the space behind your closed eyes, when they're closed, I started to make out images. And at first this image was a giant heart, like a Sufi heart with wings, and almost like a halo, and around it were the wings of angels, like, or birds, all the way around this heart. And then I felt the frequency, "We love you," is what I felt coming through that. And that was a moving picture of this heart floating, looking actually a lot like the Celtic promise ring, with the hands around the heart, that kind of a heart, and it was just holding in space, vibrating. So I continued this practice, and I started to get to where after about 15 minutes of doing a practice, the sight would kick on. And it wasn't what I was asking, wasn't what about this? It was of its own communication from God's heart, from the angelics around me, from my spirit guides, communicating to me to help me with this education. And so the first step was the importance of sun gazing, because you're literally, which I can go deeper in this practice, and to keep this video a little shorter, not over 10 minutes, looks like. I'll go into that more later. But what we do with sun gazing is literally look into the sun, just like in quiet meditation with closed eyes, but with open eyes, intentionally. It's tantra with the sun. You are bringing the sunlight into your eyes, down through your centers, your chakric centers, illuminating those as the sunlight comes in, and then rooting yourself into the earth's heart intentionally. As you're illuminating your being, your light body, you're also illuminating your consciousness. And this awakens all kind of processes in your biology and your spiritual biology. Part of our metaphysics, part of our physics. So with that being said, I think this is enough for now. The importance of clear mind, quiet mind, practice, focused intent, and loving oneself, and the importance of being enough to procure extra sensory perceptions that are accurate. And that means going beyond astral and psychic space to where you're reading and seeing other people's left behind projections and speculations, because that's what you run into with psychic. And going beyond that by illuminating the consciousness and the light body, by only speaking what you know to be in alignment with truth. This accesses a level of aligning with God's will. So the Most High, the Creator, gives us fruit when we align with truth and speaking truth, being in truth. By doing this, our will becomes aligned with the Creator's will, and then the word, our word, is increased in its potency, how far it can go, how strong the effect of its command is in a way of manifestation. So that being said, I hope you begin or have a strong meditation practice, and I hope this helps you refine what you're doing so that your information can be more accurate. And that being said, what I hear is called the Holy Spirit. And the way I am able to feel, which is not audible at all, it is a vibration ringing from the center of my being outward. And I'm experiencing truth from the center of my core. And I don't get to just, so what about this? Ask internally. Actually go through a process of prayer to know something. And then timing comes when it's right for me to know it. And it is returned to me. And those answers ring like a ringing truth off of my heart. And then I know things. So I'm very clear when I say I don't know that. And I know that. And sometimes I'll get feelings like something's there, but I'll know that I haven't actually done my practice yet to really clear if it's true. And so that's really important as a beginning seer, to be able to clear the slate, to know that you're in truth and how to get there. So keep sun gazing and keep meditating. At least 30 minutes. 2 hours is great. But that can be done more advanced while you're sweeping the floors and doing the dishes, or being at a festival watching the crowd. You can actually be in the same meditative space.